Before you scroll past this video, ask yourself one very honest question. How long has it been since you've been living under pressure that no one can see? How long has it been since you kept trying, stayed silent, kept enduring, but deep inside, felt yourself slowly growing tired? This video does not promise to change your life overnight. But perhaps, it will help you realize something even more important. Sometimes life is not closing itself off to you. It is simply forcing you to grow up in a different way. Stay until the end, because what comes next may be exactly what you most need to hear right now. You do not have to be strong all day long. And perhaps, this is something very few people tell you. Everyone is used to seeing the version of you that keeps trying. The version that still goes to work, still smiles, still replies to messages, still fulfills responsibilities. But not everyone sees the version that is quietly exhausted inside. The version that has endured for too long. The version that has told itself many times, just a little longer. While even you no longer know how far past your limit you have already gone. There are very strange phases in life. On the outside, there may be no major crisis. But on the inside, you feel as though everything is getting heavier. You begin to doubt yourself. You see other people moving faster and wonder why you seem to remain so slow. You try to do more, think more positively, act more okay. But the harder you try, the farther you feel from peace. And then one day, you realize. What exhausts you the most is not necessarily life itself. It is the fact that you have had to keep forcing yourself to fight against everything for far too long. Listen carefully to this. Life slowing down is not always a sign that you are failing. Sometimes, it slows down so you can see clearly. Clearly see what you are living for. Clearly see what truly matters. Clearly see what your real goals are, and what is merely pressure you have unconsciously carried from other people. Some doors do not open right away, not because you are not worthy. But because if they open too soon, you would walk through them as a version of yourself that is still too panicked, too unstable, too likely to lose yourself. True maturity is not when you accomplish great things. It is when you begin to live more clearly. You know what should be kept. You know what needs to be let go. You no longer say, yes, just because you are afraid of disappointing others. You no longer chase every opportunity just because you are afraid of being left behind. You no longer see busyness as proof of your worth. That is when something inside you is changing. Many people think a turning point has to be something huge. A piece of good news. A big opportunity. A dramatic shift that everyone can see. But no. A turning point often begins with very small signs. You react less impulsively. You worry less about things that have not happened yet. You begin spending money more consciously. You choose your work, your relationships, your way of living with more clarity than before. You begin to understand that stability is not built on temporary inspiration. It is built on choices repeated every single day. A clearer thought. A better decision. A moment of saying no to what is not right for you. A moment of pausing before reacting. A moment of choosing discipline over emotion. Those small things, over time, change your life. Perhaps lately you have felt that you are no longer interested in things that are too noisy. Quick promises no longer attract you the way they once did. Shiny things no longer feel convincing enough. You begin to need something else. Truth. Clarity. Peace. And that is not a sign that you are getting weaker. It is a sign that you are growing up. Because at some point, people no longer want to merely look okay. They want to truly be okay. Not to get rich quickly. But to live more sustainably. Not to be recognized immediately. But to no longer depend on recognition. Not to be better than someone else. but to be better than who they were yesterday. Try thinking about it again. Is it true that what exhausts you is not just work? Not just money? Not just specific problems? But also the feeling that you always have to be on guard. Always afraid that you have not done enough. Always afraid that something bad will happen if you stop trying. Live like that for too long, and the mind forgets what safety feels like. And when a person no longer feels safe inside, they are very likely to make rushed decisions outside. They say yes too quickly. They trust people too soon. They spend money to fill emotional emptiness. They throw themselves into things that do not fit them just because they are afraid they have no other choice. That is why calmness is a strength. When you are calm, you see what others miss. When you are calm, you do not need to chase everything. When you are calm, you can tell the difference between a real opportunity and a distraction beautifully disguised. Calmness does not make you slower. It makes you more precise. And in life, precision matters more than speed. Maybe you do not have everything you want yet. But be honest with yourself. You have already come much farther than the version of you who only knew how to worry. You have overcome many things that you once thought you could never overcome. You have had very bad days, but you still kept going. You have been disappointed many times, but you never completely gave up. That says something very important. There is endurance inside you. The problem is that up to now, you have only used that endurance to endure. Maybe from now on, it is time to use it to build. Rebuild your habits. Rebuild your thinking. Rebuild your boundaries. Rebuild your belief in yourself. Rebuild a life that does not need to be too loud, but is solid enough for you to feel at peace living in it. Do not underestimate quiet changes. No one sees when you learn to control your emotions. No one knows when you wake up and have to pull yourself through a heavy day. No one fully understands how hard you have had to fight just to remain kind while you yourself are tired. But those silent things are the real foundation. A beautiful house with a weak foundation will crack sooner or later. A great success with an unsteady inner world will sooner or later be paid for with peace. So if life is teaching you to slow down, teaching you to become clearer, teaching you to be more disciplined, then that may not be a bad thing at all. Perhaps it is the process of making you strong enough for better things. Do not compare your progress to other people's. Everyone has a different journey. Some arrive quickly, but cannot keep what they have. Some move slowly, but become steadier with every step. Some look radiant on the outside, but are full of instability within. Some live quietly, but are deeply strong inside. What you need is not a life that looks like someone else's. What you need is a life that fits who you truly are. A pace you can handle. A job you can stay committed to. A level of discipline you can maintain. A future that makes you feel secure, not just excited for a moment. Maybe today you still do not see big results. There are still unfinished things. There are still worries that have not been resolved. But as long as you still keep your clarity, still keep your faith, still continue moving one step at a time, then everything is not over yet. Many beautiful things in life do not come when you are at your most excited. They come when you are mature enough to keep them. So do not rush. Do not force yourself to bloom overnight. Do not blame yourself for not arriving as quickly as you wanted. Do not ruin your process just because you are impatient. Just keep going. Keep learning what you need to learn. Keep fixing what needs to be fixed. Keep choosing what is right even when it is not easy. Keep building the foundation even when no one sees it. Then one day, you will look back and realize. What changed your life was not one explosive moment. It was the period of time when you quietly became stronger. And if you are still listening up to this point today, then perhaps what you need is not more pressure, but a reminder. You do not have to be perfect to keep going. You do not have to stop being afraid before you take a step. You do not have to see the whole road before you begin. You just need to be honest enough with yourself to stop giving up. If you are still on the journey of rebuilding yourself from the smallest things, leave a comment. I am becoming stronger.